In this episode, I'm going to talk about a new targeting feature that Facebook recently released and is now rolling out over so many accounts called Advantage Plus Audiences. I'm going to discuss the impact I believe it has right now and how impactful it's going to be on the advertising industry as a whole in the future and answer the most important question, and that is, should you actually be using it?
This is my time, this is my moment. You better bet that I'm on it. Ready and set, I'ma own it. Blast it to 10, then keep going. There ain't no coasting, I never settle, don't play. Putting the kettle to flame. I go 100 all day. Foot on the pedal, no brakes.
Well, first, let's figure out what are Advantage Plus audiences. So Advantage Plus audiences is simply targeting that allows Meta to use AI to determine what audience should be seeing your ads. And in doing this, it takes into consideration a lot of different things. It takes into consideration your conversion history, existing pixel data, what's happening inside of it. And it's gonna be looking at people who have engaged with your previous ads. And now when we're setting this, and some of you may have this option, and some of you may not have it quite yet. But basically what you're gonna be able to do is you're gonna be able to give it some degree of inputs, some direction. Whereas a lot of times, if you use like an Advantage shopping campaign, you get no choice. Now we have a little bit of options. And so we can plug in custom lookalike audiences, custom audiences, lookalike audiences, age range, gender, and some detailed targeting. And essentially what it's gonna do is it's gonna allow Meta to prioritize reaching people who will match those suggestions or potentially match those suggestions. When tested by Meta against other audience options, they said that Advantage Plus audiences has typically improved performance on campaigns using all objectives. And here's what they saw. They saw a 13% lower median cost per catalog sale, a 7% lower median cost per website conversion, and 28% lower average cost per click, lead, or landing page views. So ultimately, Meta is saying, hey, we see great results from doing this. Should we trust that? I don't know. To be honest, they recommend a lot of things that we have gone and tested things and spent thousands of dollars doing their tests just to have them flop and regret doing it. So how much do we rely on that? That's gonna be something that time will tell. And then also you'll be able to test and say, does this actually work for me? So how this works is Advantage Plus audiences create the broadest possible audience to then search within. And what that does is it gives Meta's AI flexibility to work. Now, we have been huge fans of Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, especially over the last 6 to 12 months. We've seen it do really, really well and only get better. And we've seen Advantage Plus shopping campaigns create great stability and results as we've scaled, whereas other manual sales campaigns, as we've scaled vertically with budgets, we've seen things kind of degrade in results. Usually with Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, we have lower CPMs, we have lower cost per click, we have higher click-through rates, and we have higher ROAS and just whatever the results are that we're going for. And a big piece of that was the fact that you gave over targeting control to Facebook. You said, Facebook, with Advantage Plus shopping, hey, here are the ads that I wanna run, and I don't have any control over targeting, so go ahead and run with it. And we've seen this do really well in a large quantity of accounts, especially in the e-commerce space that we work with. And so if you haven't, by the way, watched our video on that, go click the link below and you'll be able to, or on this video, and you can go ahead and watch that training. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you're not, you're gonna have to go on audio and search for the episode on Advantage Plus shopping, but we have seen it do really well. Well, I'll actually walk you through how we structure our campaigns. And I view this right here, I view Advantage Plus audiences as kind of a hybrid between manual sales campaigns and Advantage Plus shopping campaigns. Because with Advantage Plus shopping, you don't get any targeting control like you get in manual sales campaigns. But in manual sales campaigns, you don't get just kind of what we've observed is this algorithm and AI love that Facebook has in Advantage shopping campaigns. So this is kind of a nice hybrid to where we get to basically give Facebook general direction that we want it to go. So you get the targeting of Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, but you get the campaign structure and flexibility of manual sales campaigns. Now, real quick, before I continue, if you have used Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, I would love for you to drop a comment in YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube right now, just let us know what kind of results have you seen from Advantage Plus shopping campaigns and what has your experience been like. All right, let's talk through how do Advantage Plus audiences actually work. So inside the ad set level, when we're creating the campaign on the ad set level, this is where we're selecting our targeting. And you're gonna see something that might look something like this, where you have audience controls, and in the audience controls, you can select location, and then if you select more options, you're gonna be able to actually choose what's called a minimum age. You can still add your custom audience exclusions, and then of course you could choose a language. So just to break these down a little bit, a location is where you're just gonna select your general location. Where are you selling to, or who do you want to target? That makes a lot of sense. Pretty standard, we've seen that for a long time. But then they have a new option here that is minimum age. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, you don't have any control on age. It is 18 to 65. Or 65 plus. And so you can actually set a minimum age. My advice is just to leave this, because this is more focused around if there's a minimum age that somebody should be in order to buy your product. So I'm just gonna leave that at 18. That would be our advice from the tests that we have run so far. I would then add our exclusions inside the custom audiences. That's pretty standard. Now from here, what's kind of unique when you get to the actual targeting, this is where you used to come in and you would select all your detailed targeting, all that good stuff. This is where we can actually select what's called an Advantage Plus audience. And so we get to make an audience suggestion. And that's kind of interesting, because before, what most people do in manual sales campaigns is they would either target lookalikes, and it would target only people in those lookalikes, or we would stack audience interests and we would target those interests, or we would just go broad where we just select a demographic. Well, here, what it's basically saying is you can provide an audience suggestion, but it's optional. We're saying, hey, Facebook, go broad and have flexibility, but let me give you a little, let me just slip you a little note with like a hint as to where the next clue is, or where our like a clue as to where our customers are generally hanging out. And so I love this. It gives us this ability to just feed Facebook a little bit of starting data, so that way it can begin with that and then expand outside of that as soon as it makes sense to do so. The other thing you could do here, as of right now, and this is probably gonna change in the future, you can switch back to the original audience settings as of right now. But if my hunch is probably correct, it's gonna move to the point where it removes that ability to do so. If you're finding this episode useful, it would mean a ton to us if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and like the video. It kind of helps the algorithm get a little bit of love for these videos, and it helps reach other people, and that would just mean so much to us. And if you're listening to the audio version, leaving a review would help this podcast get to more people, help more people, which is our mission at the E-Commerce Alley. All right, next, we get to select the Advantage Plus audience. So if we're going to, the cool thing about this, whereas in Advantage Plus shopping, we don't have control, we can still come in, we can even give it starting custom audience direction. So this is really, really neat. Because what that means is we can load up our custom audiences, like our warm, our hot people that normally buy from us. And we could plug this in here, and Facebook will view this as an audience suggestion rather than only targeting that. So normally, if you're in the typical way of setting up your audience targeting, when you use custom audiences, it targets those custom audiences. But here, we could say, hey, here are custom audiences. Now you know who we kind of want to go after, and it gives it even more direction, or what Facebook calls suggestion. And so we can give it the custom audience direction, and then we could still select an age range. So we could, this is just like normal, we could select an age range, and it'll give Facebook, again, a suggestion as to what age range your ideal customer is in, but it is still able to expand outside if it deems necessary. Same thing with gender, and then same thing with adding in detailed targeting. So the interesting thing about all of this is that it's very similar to broad, but we have a little bit more control, and we can feed Facebook a good starting point. So if we're looking at these, just to compare Advantage Plus audiences versus broad, because that's the other question that I get is, hey, well, why not just go broad? Is broad the same thing? It is, it's similar, except that you give Facebook more flexibility to go outside even the demographic parameters that you set, because in broad, you'll still set demographic parameters, but instead now we're saying, here is what our ideal customers typically or are going to be in this age range or this gender or in this, et cetera. Like we're going to give them some of that data, but it allows them to go outside of that. And it's like broad. I view this as like broad, but with more direction. And then Facebook uses that direction as clues to then go hunt for the next customer. Just if you're running a purchase campaign, customer, or lead, if you're running a lead campaign, and then it kind of expands out. So should you use Advantage Plus audiences? Well, as time goes on, we have seen greater and greater results from using large stacks of interests or lookalikes and by going broad. We have seen it do better and better as time goes on. And so preliminarily, I will say this because we've been running tests in this, we're seeing similar results. Honestly, we're seeing similar results as just going broad. But like many things with Facebook, I would just say that time will tell, and it will likely get better over time because broad, way back in the day when it first became a really popular thing, didn't do as well as it does today, in my opinion. And interests used to do really well, and single interests don't do as well as it once did back in the day. And so because of the push Facebook has done on this and the improvement in its AI and its ability to really find people given the context of your ads, my hunch is that Facebook will eventually force the shift in the coming year, just like it has done with things like audience expansion that you once were able to toggle on and off, in how you once were able to have the ability to select, hey, living in or recently visited in the targeted locations that you're choosing. And so I do recommend everybody test it. If you're watching or you're listening to this right now, try it. We have seen similar results to broad, so we haven't seen tangible results to say that it performs better than going broad yet. I believe that in due time, we're going to begin to see that, and Facebook's going to do more and more of a shift to have that control and have that flexibility with a little bit of direction that you give it so that it can go find the people that you want to find with your targeting. You, my friend, have been listening to the Ecommerce Alley podcast. If you found this valuable, again, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave us a review. And if you haven't joined the Ecommerce Alley Facebook group, go to alleypodcast.com/group. It'll just redirect you. It's completely free. We go live in the studio every week. It's super cool. We get to get into the weeds of things like this, but we appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah, I'm a